everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Sacred Femme Alchemy. We're doing the Shakti Soul Sessions that just launched yesterday, and I'm super excited to record another short fire episode for you. And I don't know about you all, but there's so many holidays going on. We have Halloween, we have Dia de los Muertos, we have Diwali, we have the new moon in Scorpio, and we also have, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Samhain on All Saints Day. So everything is just coalescing to come together this week. And I'm feeling the energies so intensely, especially this idea of transformation. So I'm definitely feeling a lot of the Scorpio energies, a lot of the darkness, a lot of the death, a lot of the rebirth, and really looking at things very closely of just what I don't want to deal with. And I received an email today, and it was focusing and zeroing on the topic of the dark feminine. And right now, every time I actually help babysit my nephews, I always feel like I come to this deep initiation at a different level. And so every time I come here and I celebrate, or not celebrate, every time that I come here and I help my sister out, it's always a different, very different experience. And so last time it was really nice, really angelic, very much the kids doing what you want. And this time it's been really having to come close to facing some of my shadows. And I haven't, maybe it's because I don't follow a lot of mommy bloggers or influencers. I can't believe I used the word bloggers. But back in the day, there used to be bloggers before influencers, or just any of the mommy parenthood content. But I would say my initiation into really understanding the mother, really working with Kundalini Shakti, really working with the divine feminine happened when I finished up my tantric yoga training back in fall 2023. So a little bit over a year ago. And I remember when I came back, I had to help my mom take care of my nephews. It was just me and her. And it's when I really got to understand my mom in a different way. It's when I really got to learn to forgive her for whatever transgressions that I thought were in my mind. And I think as an adult, you start to forgive your parents in a very much different way because one, you have a different perspective. You're not a child. You have more experiences. You have more empathy. Your heart capacity to build empathy and kindness is just generally, it's increased. And there's a lot of forgiveness and healing. And I even remember having a dream where I really got to understood the feminine aspect of being stern, of being rigid, of seemingly being very fierce and hard to get along with, but then also knowing at the end why that mother figure was the way she was. And so we hear about these stories all the time. We hear about these different myths. We hear about these mythologies and everything, and sometimes you get to experience it in real life and true embodiment. And when I think about having to parent a child and being in the experience of, it's not 24/7, it's 24/3 for me because I'm here with them 24 hours a day, but it's 3 days out of the week, right? Just that's how long they need me right now. But it's really difficult. It's really difficult. And it's making me question a lot too about the inheritance that I've been given, the emotional inheritance that I've been given from my parents, and thinking about what type of parent I would be. And it just really hones in on the things of what you think you'll be versus what is actually true. And I think that when a child is, and I'm outside right now, so you might hear some background noise, but when I think of the word mother, I think oftentimes maybe I've looked at it from the maiden perspective, and I think being a mother requires such a deep initiation and experience that you don't really know about until you're in it. And props to all the mothers who are working, who are single, any of that stuff, who have to show up day in, day out. And it's not about, you choose to be a mom, but there is nothing like this where you have to really learn to have love be full front and center in your interactions with your children, but also giving them grace and knowing that they're these tiny human beings that don't have the cognitive capability as adults to behave, to understand patience, to understand the concept of time, to understand weight. They don't meditate. And my patience and my temper has been tested many times, right? And I think the worst part of all is knowing that because you're on a spiritual path, it's almost like more, and you're aware more. And so it's allowed me to forgive my parents in a different way, where I realized they didn't do this spiritual work. But the difference is that I am doing it. And so what do I do with it? It's hard to just say, observe your anger, observe. It's making me think about my practice and wanting it to go even deeper, to have patience, and it's expanding me and it's converting me into stretching me into different directions of, wow, that is the embodiment of mother. Oftentimes you think about the word mother, it can be very one-dimensional if you haven't been a mother yourself, because you can understand that concept. You have your own identity and experience of what it is to have a mother if you've had that experience, but to actually be one, to be tested constantly with your darkness, with your shameness, with these primal instincts and almost sometimes hatred in your heart, right? That is the dark feminine that I see being tested in a new way, in a new level. And it's funny because when you become in a romantic relationship, a lot of your stuff is going to come up and your triggers, your wounds, and it's going to be hard. And oftentimes you're going to want to break up with your partner or whomever you're dating. And sometimes you have short-lived dating experiences, and then you learn to work it out. You learn to come to find your own middle, your own ground, your understanding. And with children, it's completely different. Like I used to see these different memes of, oh my gosh, like parenting and then having your childhood trauma come up. And because at the end of the day, because you are so aware, you're thinking, oh my God, if this stern look, is it causing trauma to the kid? And then you feel guilty when, it's just almost like there's a fine line between learning to talk to them, to an adult, learning to parent them, learning to discipline them, learning to help shape the way that they become as human beings in the world, to learn how to trust themselves, but learn to not be scared of adults or authority figures. There's just so many different things that come up in your head. And today I experienced guilt for being that disciplinarian. And then I felt that experience of, wow, oh my God, I'm like my dad. And I think a lot of parents can relate to this and wonder and feel shame and doubt. And that guilt just went over the first time I understood that mommy guilt, and thinking if you're doing enough or you're doing too much and wanting to succumb to your kid. But then it's just like, wow, this is baptism by fire, and I'm only getting 3 days of it, and it's really intense. And so I just want to give props to all the different parents out there who do this day in, day out, who show up for all other areas of their life, including work. Maybe they have to deal with not so great work environments either, but they feel stuck in their job because they have to provide for their family. And so it's just this level of, sometimes our heart gets expanded by very hopeful experiences, very positive experiences, being of service, being loving, all that stuff. But sometimes our heart gets expanded by really challenging experiences. Maybe you've had your heart broken, maybe you've had your heart tested. And so it's like it's learning to reshape, remold, and stretch a little bit. And when you stretch, it is a little bit uncomfortable. It's never comfortable to stretch in any type of manner. And it's just learning to be okay with it. And it's definitely made me question different things. It's made me question about different attachment systems. It's made me have more compassion for my own parents, and made me have compassion for when I see other parents get frustrated, because you only see one side, but what you're really seeing is a snapshot of compounded experiences of every day of people sometimes not getting a break. And so I invite you to think about in your life of where can you grant your parents compassion? Where can you grant your parents compassion, and so forth? This is a moment in time where the veil is between all these different realms, really wanting to connect with our ancestors, really wanting to connect with this sense of where we came from, and understanding how can we give grace. Because if you're here, if you're listening to this Spirituality is in your ether. You're trying to be a good person. You're trying to understand. You're trying to make sense of things. You're trying to somehow pick up the pieces of where you came from and really defining who you want to be. And I often talk about the dutiful daughter, right? That's even having me question. Was a dutiful daughter a byproduct of people just being strict, practicing the rules of discipline, or there's just so many things that go into it. And so I set the intention today to just really have you think about, as we come closer to honoring the dead, to honor our ancestors, really thinking about the medicine that we do receive from them, really thinking about how it's showing up in your life today. Maybe you don't have a particular strong connection or through line with your ancestors, but if you have a desire to get to know them, you can certainly create an altar. You can look at pictures of them. It's so cute because at my nephew's school, they're going to celebrate, and so my sister's trying to get pictures of our ancestors so they can bring to school and have it on the altar. So it's just really beautiful to see that even though sometimes we may not have the best relationship, the fact that you are showing up in the world and wanting to better yourself proves that in a way that maybe they did do a good job in some sort of way, because you're here and you're questioning things and you want to create a better place for yourself and for others. Because when we do have that resentment, it is true what they say. It's like poison to ourselves. And so how can we use this opportunity to clear it out? How can we use an opportunity to get close to those things that we don't like, to unearth that dark feminine, that dark masculine, primal aspect of ourselves that's very animalistic in a way, and not be afraid of it and know that it is so normal. All of this is normal. And maybe if there's nothing that you want to inherit from your parents or honor or any of your ancestors, then that's something to celebrate too, because then it's showing you what you don't want to be, right? Regardless, right? And so really honor and really think about what is the inheritance you do want to take, what is the inheritance you don't want to take. All right, with that is my short episode today, my short Shakti soul session. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment. You can listen to this and let me know how it resonates with you. And there's still time to join the free Telegram group, which is known as Radiant Shakti Collective. We're actually a couple, more than 10 days out, I believe, for our sadhana practice, but it's going on strong. It's beautiful practice. We're working with our manifestations and really working with the creativity of life and connecting to our Kundalini Shakti energy. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Bye.